Hey YouTubers, back with another pipe smoking video. Today I thought I'd chat with you guys about pipe finishes and get your thoughts on those. If you would, leave a comment. And hopefully for those who are new to pipe smoking and may not be familiar with all the different ways that briar pipes can be finished, this will prove useful and informative to them. There are basically four types of finishes that briar pipes come in. Smooth, rusticated, sandblasted, and then unfinished. And then within some of those finish types there are variations, and hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate some of that to you. Probably the most common finish for pipes is a smooth finish. For example, this pipe here, this Bulldog, has a smooth finish to it. Here's another Bulldog. This also has a smooth finish. Now between these two Bulldogs there are some differences in the smooth finish. This Bulldog here has a matte finish. It's kind of dull and not very shiny and glossy, whereas this Bulldog has a very shiny, glossy finish to it. They're both smooth, they've both been stained, but the shine on them is different. The reason that is because this one, after it was stained, it was dipped in a varnish or a lacquer, and that's what gives it that nice, bright, shiny, glossy finish. And this shiny, glossy finish stays on the pipe as you smoke it. Pipes that don't have this, that haven't been dipped in that varnish or lacquer, when you first get them, they'll be shiny. They can be just as shiny and glossy looking as this one, but as you smoke them, the heat that's generated causes the wax that they put on the exterior of the bowl to give it that initial shiny look to kind of, it warms up and it softens and it penetrates into the briar wood, and when it cools it kind of then starts to dull down a little bit. They can, with time, they can get as flat, matte looking as this one, although this pipe, I bought this pipe brand new, it came with that matte look. It wasn't shiny at all. So it'd be interesting to see if I went and tried to, wax this again and buff it, if it would take on a nice, glossy shine like this this one does for a few smokes. Here's another smooth finish pipe that came glossy, but I've smoked it a few times and it's starting to dull down. You can still see there's a little bit of a shine, a little bit of a glossiness to it, but it's nowhere near as shiny and glossy as this Bulldog is here. The next most common finish in pipes are rusticated finishes, and rusticated pipes are usually done because the pipe maker sees some external flaws on the briar wood which kind of detract from the aesthetics of the grain. These flaws would be like sand pits, or maybe even some fills that he has to fill with putty or something like that. They don't affect the smoking quality of the pipe, but they do detract from the pleasing look of a nice nice grain on it or something like that. So to hide those visual imperfections, the pipe maker will rusticate or rough up the external surface of the briar pipe. Here's an example of a rusticated pipe. You can see how the surface of the pipe has kind of been made irregular and carved up a little bit in kind of a random pattern. But it's not. The briar didn't come this way. It's been manually, made irregular like that. And this has kind of got a light rustication to it. There's varying degrees of rustication. For example, this gray bough right here, you can see the carvings on it are much more deeper and pronounced than this Paranelli. This is a Paranelli. This is the rustication on this Paranelli. They're both rusticated, but this one just has much deeper carvings and gouges in it. It's still done irregularly, and it's kind of a random texture, but it's much more pronounced. So those two finishes, smooth and rusticated, are the most common. The third finish is a sandblasted finish. Sandblasted pipes usually, well, I'd probably say almost always, have just as nice grain as a smooth finished pipe is, but the sandblasting process brings out and accentuates that grain in a different manner, as opposed to, you know, just the staining, a contrast stain on a smooth pipe will. When the pipe is sandblasted, the little particles of sand will eat away at the softer wood between the rings, and the harder wood on the rings will stay behind, so you'll kind of get this ripple-like effect in the wood when it's sandblasted. And depending on the orientation of the grain, you know, it could be ring grains that go like this around the bowl, or vertical grains that kind of go up the bowl. It gives a slightly different effect, but you can still see the grain. And that's the major difference between a sandblasted and a rusticated pipe, is that sandblasted pipes retain the visual presence of the grain of the briar wood, whereas the rusticated pipes, you know, the grain, there's still grain in the wood, it's just been rusticated and roughed up and you can't see it, it's not apparent. I only have one sandblasted pipe, this Stanwell here. It's a Stanwell Vario, and it's partially smooth and partially sandblasted. And you can see on the smooth side, you can see the veins, excuse me, not the veins, the grains are all vertical oriented. They run up and down. And if I turn this and the light catches it just right, you can see, hopefully, how the grain, you can still see it apparent in the sandblasting, how there's these vertical lines that run up and down the pipe. So the sandblasting does reveal the grain, but just in a different manner. This pipe has been very lightly sandblasted. It's not, you know, it's just enough to show, give it a roughed up surface, but still, you know, the grain's still there. Some pipe makers are a lot more heavy-handed with their sandblasting, so that those grain is much more apparent and the ripples are a lot deeper. You know, I've never seen something, you know, as deep as the gouges are on here, but, you know, I've seen some sandblasting where it's, you know, these marks are a lot more evident than they are here on this one. And it's really beautiful. When it's done well, it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's just as beautiful as a smooth finish pipe, where you can see the grain, you know, obviously. Then in the fourth pipe finish is unfinished, called unfinished pipe, where there's no stain. The pipe's been sanded smooth, but there's no stain applied to it to try to bring out or enhance the grain in the wood. And the purpose behind those is, as you hold them in your hand and you smoke it, you know, the bowl warms up, and the oils on your hand and fingers will then kind of soak into the wood, and that over time begins to stain the wood slightly. So it goes from that unfinished wood look to takes on a darker color as the oils in your hands kind of do a light staining of it, and it does it very irregularly depending on how you hold the pipe. I don't see unfinished pipes very often. They're just probably not very common or popular type of finish, but there you go. Those are the 4 different types of finishes on briar pipes. I really like seeing the grain in pipes, so I'm probably in the future going to concentrate more on sandblasted pipes, because I've only got the one. I've got, you know, a dozen smooth pipes and half a dozen rusticated pipes, but only one sandblast. So in the future, I'm probably going to try to concentrate on any pipes I get in the future. Look for sandblasted pipes that, you know, that really the pipe maker's done a really good job of bringing out that grain via the sandblasting process. So there you go. Like I said, I'd be interested in hearing what your favorite finishes are in pipes, if you have a favorite finish. So, you know, please leave a comment, and thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon. Take care.